This video is all about momentum and impulse, impulse momentum theorem with their formula, unit, and examples. Let's begin defining what is a momentum. Momentum is the measure of quantity of motion in a body. It is the product of its mass and velocity. So the formula for momentum is P is equals to m times v, where P is for momentum, m is for mass, and v is for velocity. So these are the units for momentum. The unit is based on what kind of unit you are using. So for you to be able to understand what is a momentum, we will be doing an experiment. We will be using two kinds of tape, small and big, and a slider, and make the two tapes slide. Please observe carefully. As you can see, the big tape has the larger momentum than the small tape. So, the big tape was the first one to reach the ground because of its higher momentum. As the tape rolls at the slider, it will gather momentum. So the velocity will increase as the force of the gravity accelerates it towards to the ground. So always remember that momentum is a linear momentum wherein P is equal to m times v. And momentum is a vector quantity because it involves a velocity vector being multiplied by the scalar value of the object mass, so it can be represented by P is equal to kilogram times meter per second. Note, pag mas maraming momentum ang makukuha, mas mahirap itong patigilin. And now, let's define what is impulse. Impulse is the product of the average value of a force with the time during which it acts. It is also equal to the change in momentum produced by the force at this time interval. So impulse has two formulas. The first one is J is equals to F delta T is equals to F times T2 minus T1. Second one is J is equals to delta P is equals to P2 minus P1, where J is equals to impulse, F is equal to average force, T is for time, T1 is for initial time, T2 is for final time, delta P is for change in momentum, P1 is for initial momentum, and P2 is equals to final momentum. So these are the units that will be needed in computing an impulse. So for you to be able to understand what is impulse all about, I will show you some experiments that will make you understand what is impulse. So we'll be using a toy to show you what will happen if this toy was thrown into the floor. Please observe carefully. As you can see, the toy broke. The toy has a greater impact after throwing. It is because the force is greater than the time where the object and floor met. The force was all applied to the object that causes it to break. And now, let's try another example. We will be using a pillow and a toy. What will happen if the toy was thrown in the pillow? Please observe carefully. The toy was also broke. The toy was broke into two pieces. As you can see, the toy has a lesser impact because time is greater than the force. That force is the impact that obtained by the pillow that the object must have after throwing it. So the time where the toy and the ground should meet was consumed by the pillow. Impulse is about how long it will take for the object to meet the ground by applying force onto it. Are you asking now, how are they related? Impulse momentum theorem is the change in momentum of an object equals the impulse applied to it. So, it is the combination of impulse and momentum. Since it is a combination of impulse and momentum, their formula is also a combination of impulse and momentum. Always remember that applying force on an object will gain some momentum. An object that loses momentum, we're imparting force. So, pag nag-apply ka ng force to an object, it will gain some momentum. Tumataas yung momentum nila. Pero pag bumababa naman, ito ay kanilang ipinapasa sa iba pang object. So, badminton can be an example for impulse and momentum theorem. As you can see, I swing the racket into the shuttlecock rather than stopping the swing of an impact. If contact is maintained between the racket and the shuttlecock for as long as possible, the maximum possible force were imparted upon the shuttlecock. Kung walang magbablock sa mga tira mo, the shuttlecock was no momentum. Pero pag patuloy ang laro, the strikes was good, then there is momentum acting into the shuttlecock because the change in momentum was imparted unto it. So sa badminton, the momentum is about how you are going to score sa kalaban, and impulse is about blocking your way of scoring to win the game. Kasi pag na-block na yung tira mo, there is a change in momentum that was imparted into the shuttlecock.